Welcome to another edition of the Unfiltered, part of the Ernest Speaking Podcast. I'm your host, Ernest E. Christian, recording this on Monday, September 29th, 2025. A lot to get to today. Well, not this, obviously not the top 10 episode, but, I am really pissed off. I had a horrible sports weekend. And that's including the Giants winning, actually. Jackson Dart winning his first start as a strong card for the Giants. My weekend started off crappy with the Florida State Seminoles losing to Virginia on Friday night. That was bad enough as it was. That was bad enough, okay? And then we had the whole entire weekend of the Mets were in town here. They're playing the Marlins, and I'm about an hour and some odd minutes away from the stadium. I had considered one point going to one of the games, but the schedule didn't work out. And all they had to do was win 2 out of 3. And they're in the playoffs. Win 2 out of 3. And they did not do that. In fact, here's the worst part of the Mets. They by Friday night, they lost control of their own destiny. Because when they lost to Miami on Friday, the Reds had won their game. So the Reds had a tiebreaker. Both teams also won on Saturday. So it was a wash. The Mets on Sunday still got the opportunity to win the playoff spot. The Reds lost to Milwaukee. Milwaukee, I believe, benched all their starters in doing so. And the Mets still could not get the job done, losing the final game of the regular season 4-0 in Miami. This team this year was a complete embarrassment. And I hate to say it. I'm not blaming Juan Soto. By the way, there's a video. We did a podcast on last week with Steve Borstein, a friend of mine, former radio host, journalist now. And that I put a clip of a conversation we had on that show talking about Juan Soto. And he was very blunt in his observation on the Mets signing Juan Soto, saying it was a mistake to sign for that kind of money, or sign it all for that matter, because the fact that he's a cancer. I disagree with all the excessive stuff, though. What I will say, and I did say even then when we made the signing, before and then even after the signing, I said, I don't mind having Juan Soto. And for the record, I'm not blaming Juan Soto for why the Mets missed the playoffs this year. I'm not blaming him whatsoever. But what did I say the day it happened? You can go back to my social media. It's still there. That tweet is still, I believe it's still there. On my Instagram too also. Where I said, I like Juan Soto. I don't mind having Juan Soto. I don't know if I like Juan Soto at $700 million plus. Because it wasn't because I didn't want Juan Soto. It's because that money could have been well spent elsewhere, filling out the team, filling out pitching. And then even when the Mets went out to a fast start in April and May, what did I say in this podcast? Because I always do a Mets check-in every so often. What did I say on social media? What did I say on this show? That very good start. And by the way, at the time, Soto was playing like garbage. Soto wasn't having a good year at all at the time. The Mets played their best baseball when Soto wasn't playing well. And I'm not correlating the two for the record. Because baseball is a very intriguing sport in that way. Okay, but what did I say about the Mets back in April and back in May? And you guys can go back to listen to the tapes, watch the videos. I said, I don't know if as good as that pitching staff was playing at the time, Senga and all those guys at the time, I don't know if they can sustain this. I don't know. I still have my doubts. Now, could they make the playoffs? Sure. But at the time, the bar was, well, last year we got to NLCS. We were 2 wins away from the World Series, right? Okay, so obviously the next bar, the next level is getting to the World Series. So I didn't fathom that this team, forget the fact they blew a big lead in the National League East. And for the record, the Phillies are a great team. So it's not knocking the Phillies for what they've done. They're a phenomenal team. I picked them in the division anyway before the season started. So them winning the division was less of a shock. Let's be real. I picked them to win the division for first off. Okay. The Mets falling apart, not only losing the NL East lead, then they fall apart and miss the playoffs in entirety. And this was Soto hitting, 43, 44 home runs. And again, I am not blaming Juan Soto whatsoever. But what did I say back then? I would have preferred that money be better spent rounding out the team, getting pitching. I'm sorry, Kodak Singer is not a number one guy. Number one, he can't stay healthy starters. Okay? He's not consistent enough. And then, even when we have to out-hit teams, the Mets aren't consistent enough as a hitting team to warrant that. Like the Yankees, the Yankees in the 2000 and the aughts, even when they didn't go to the World Series, but they always won the playoffs, the reason why I got the playoffs every year is because they would out-hit teams all the time. So that formula could work getting to the playoffs. Now, once you're in the postseason, pitching matters. The Mets, unfortunately, their bats are up and down. As good as Soto played this summer, and remember, Soto got hot this summer, but then Lindor fell apart. And then Pete Alonso was hit or miss at times. As good a year Alonso had, he still had some spots this year where he was missing. Vientos had in comparison to last year, had a bad year. So we weren't getting that timely hitting on top of that this year. Okay? And even so, we still had a big lead in the wild card. There is no reason New York Mets to be sitting home, okay, missing the playoffs. Okay? I'll give you the National League East. I'll even give you them losing the first round. And for the record, even if they made the playoffs, they had no fucking shot, honestly, because they're not consistent enough. They're not. Okay? They're just not. The lack of urgency in this team from this weekend, even beforehand, was concerning. And I told you guys, by end of August, I kept telling you guys, they don't deserve it. They don't deserve to make the playoffs. I kept saying that over and over and over again. Okay? And then you have the reaction to the Mets. And for the record, the Mets announcers are Gary Cohen, Ron Darling. I got a name. I can't off the top of my head. But the three team announce group. In my opinion, I'm not being biased here. Probably the best in baseball. But don't like this the whole thing. They're here crying after the game yesterday. Not crying literally about the Marlins all of a sudden posting and posing in front of the Mets dugout after winning the game and crying about it. Here. This really upset me yesterday hearing this crap.
The Marlins, they just took a team picture in front of their dugout like they're going to the postseason.
Well, this was their World Series.
Oh,
yep, they took 2 out of 3, knocked the Mets out of the postseason. You saw the Reds celebrating in Milwaukee.
I don't care. Cry all you want. Cry more. Okay? Be critical of your team. The Mets, the 2025 Mets were an absolute they were an absolute fucking embarrassment. Okay? And everyone's texting me and everyone's calling me. Everyone's is telling me, oh, the Mets. What am I going to say? They fucked up. They suck. Okay? They deserve all the criticism. They deserve it. And then literally, and I'm not knocking them for doing this, but literally minutes after the game, we hear the announcement Pete Alonso is going to opt out his contract. Now, look, he's probably going to be back next year, most likely. I don't know. Although, when you lose like this, I have a hard time believing Steve Cohen's going to want to pay that guy, even though he was really good this year. Pay that guy, given how things went this year. Because clearly, that money that Alonso's looking for this year, and for record, I want Alonso back. He is actually the heart and soul of this team. So I do suffice to say that. But at the same time, we need pitching. So now we have to address this situation. Can you afford Alonso and pitching? Yes, you can afford it. But do you want to pay into luxury tax and do that? Is it wise to do that? Is it smart in the financials to do that? I don't know. Juan Soto's, some of the things you're reading after, some of the reactions after, it's just sad. And guess what? Everybody's sitting there and making fun of the Mets. And guess what? It's deserved. You guys fucked up. You guys were embarrassment. You guys are embarrassment. You guys continue to make it understandable why they are the stepchild. You guys are trying to be the Yankees. You're not the Yankees. And I hate the Yankees for the record. Okay? But here's the reality. Even when I take away all the 20+ World Series they won in their lifetime, just take the ones they won since I've been alive. They won 5 since I've been alive, or 6 to be alive. Okay, just those 6 alone. Okay, there's a level of urgency to the Yankees, at least. The Mets feel like they're happy to be there. They get paid. The players get paid, and then what? Do nothing. I found this clip yesterday, after the game, and of all places, Barstool Sports, angry Met fan here. My way, he has a cut off shirt off here, but this guy, in so many words, expresses how I feel about this team and how everything ended out. Here's just a little 1-minute rant here.
Well, there you have it. The most heartless, gutless group of fucking losers you've ever fucking seen. And now they're going to let Pete Alonso walk. They're going to let Adam Diaz walk. And you have David Stearns, who thinks that players like Frankie, I guarantee you next year you're going to see Josh Bell and Kyle Freeland on this fucking team. Because that's the type of player he got. Cedric Mullins, fuck him. Ryan fucking Stanek, fuck him. Yeah, there's so many players this year fucking didn't show up. Soto, Soto, good numbers, but really didn't have a great season. I don't care how close he came to 40-40. There was not much clutch in him. Alonso was their best player. Lindor had a decent season. But this year, this heartless fucking bunch of fucking losers. This fucking I'm never going to see this team win. I'm never going to fucking see this team win. And that's just miserable. Last year was so fun. And that they didn't build on it. In fact, they tore it down. Last year was OMG. This year it's what the fuck. And what's next year going to be without Pete Alonso? What's next year going to be without Adam Diaz? You watch. They're going to sign Josh fucking Bell. They're going to sign fucking Kyle fucking Freeland with his 18 fucking losses. Because that's what fucking David Stearns does. He thinks he's smarter than everyone else. He doesn't get anyone that's good. He gets projects. Projects don't work! What a miserable fucking season.
Here's how I disagree with that guy. I do share a lot of the sentiment and the anger towards this team. Here's where I'll disagree with him here. I'm not putting this on the ownership group. I'm not putting this on the executive whatsoever, other than the fact they didn't get pitching. Okay? I'm not doing that. It's on the players. You have the requisite players to win. Okay? You have guys like Lindor getting $300 million over 7 years.
What a miserable
7 years. Oh, sorry about that. Over 7 years or something like that. You have Pete Alonso making a lot of money. Diaz, by the way, I didn't realize he's a free agent next year. You got to keep him. Diaz is still really good this year. Okay, I don't think. I think the team they have currently is good enough, but it's not enough. If you know what I mean. The core. You keep Alonso. You keep Lindor. You keep obviously Soto's the guy. You Diaz. Pitching is the problem. Because I could accept losing the playoffs, losing the Phillies, Dodgers, hell, even the Brewers. I could accept that. But losing and not getting to the fucking postseason, after the summer we had, it's asinine. It's asinine how this played out. So this is my last time we'll see on the Mets for the rest of the offseason. Although I shudder to think that the rest of the week of podcasts, it will come up, I guess, with some of my guests have coming up this week. And conversations I have coming up this week. It may come up, but I don't intend to talk about the Mets anymore. This team's forgotten. This team's in the back burner. I don't want to hear about it anymore. The next time I want to hear about the Mets is during winter meetings. What are we doing with Alonso? Is Diaz back next year? Are we getting pitching? That's all I care about. Otherwise, the New York Mets, 25 New York Mets, go fuck themselves. Honestly. So that's for me. By the way, I hope you guys enjoyed the first installment of EJ Loves the Internet that came out today, actually. I enjoyed that. We're going to be doing that every single week, every Monday, most likely. And we have more announcements coming up very soon. So, again, follow me on X at EJ Christian 7, Unfiltered, every week as well, too. Although I may start doing these on filters and sprinkling more of these episodes throughout the week if necessary. We'll see. We'll see. But you know what? New York Mets, 2025 New York Mets. I'll see you spring training. 2025 New York Mets. Go fuck yourselves. So then, we'll talk later.